We're barely a few videos into early access, and I'm already having to issue an apology to a unit. These pudgy crow bros I had misjudged are actually pretty solid. They're a little bit more of a balanced stat line as compared to like Furies or Harpies. Harpies being a little bit more defensive, and Furies being a little bit more aggressive. But these guys kind of split the line down the middle, and I do love their pudgy crow bro aesthetic. Absolutely fantastic up in the sky. The Onyx Crowmen, of course, is what I'm talking about for Cathay. Today, Okoye is going to be using Cathay against my Kislev. We've got a clash of nations of men, so we're in for a classic Total War good time. In some land battles, starting with my build, Mother Ostankia leading the way, of course. We've got 3 things in the woods, including the Regiment of Renown, 3 horse archers with some Cossack dervishes scattered around as well, and then 5 Akshina ambushers, including the Wolf Hearts. I've also got here a Hag Witch of Beasts. She's got no spells, but she does come with an insanely strong summon. Summons a unit of things in the woods, considering she only costs like 1100 for a pretty decent armor-piercing ranged chariot. That also has a summon. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see double Hag with no spells just for that in and of itself in Kislev games. As for the Jade Dragon's forces, he's leading the way, of course, with some Iron Hails. He's got some Jade Warriors, some Grand Cannons, and the Onyx Crowmen up in the sky. We've got a Jade Lion here as well, and a Zhengu War Drum, which is the reason why, partially at least, these Onyx Crowmen have insane stats. Look at that. With Harmony and with the War Drum, they're up to 5144 for the Regiment of Renown. Very good, I must say. But still fairly squishy, so going to be quite vulnerable to range units, going to be quite vulnerable to, you know, counter charges when they come down to the ground from things like shock cavalry, but still should be quite effective in fulfilling that flyer flanker type role. Very interesting unit for Cathay, it must be said. Right now, well, their Stanky is just getting pounded by those Cathayan cannons. Definitely has taken significant damage already. And all 3 are focusing directly on her, which definitely makes sense to a degree, but it does allow my other units. Oh, man. Poor Mother Stinky is just getting stunk up like crazy. Horse archers move forward. They're going to start to pick away at these Iron Hails with their superior range. The Jade Lion coming out to kind of chase the Hag Witch away. She herself has more of a single shot artillery. It's not really artillery. It's short range, but it's maybe classed as artillery in terms of leadership effects and in terms of like projectile type. But anyway, she's going to drop that quick thing in the woods summon straight to the front line. The Akshina ambushers already doing a great job just outranging and just mowing down those Iron Hail gunners with prejudice. Meanwhile, the Jade Line comes forward. It's going to do okay disrupting here, but keep in mind the Akshinas have armor piercing in melee. They'll be able to fight this guy off with relatively small issues. I mean, they're definitely going to take some damage in the process, but with as many as there are, and especially given that they just walked straight into the ROR, who in particular, I mean, 3641's solid enough stats. They can kind of compete with the Jade Line here. Got the things in the woods coming forward as well now, and light cavalry attack over on the right flank as the things in the woods, yeah, they push forward. The summon here is going to get on these cannons. Right now, the Onyx Crowmen are just kind of biding their time, looking for the right target to shoot, or rather come down and attack, and they decide to go for the horse archers here. And Okoye, I think, might have forgotten that his War Drum was in this area, but it ends up actually benefiting him greatly. That extra 24 armor helps the Onyx Crowmen not take nearly as much damage, as I'm just trying to force path my archers through there. Crowmen are getting some really nice value if we take a look here. Already, yeah, up to almost 300 value there, so pretty good stuff. Cossack dervishes helping to clean up some routing units, and yeah, all these Akshina ambushers trying to target Yuan Bo, but taking damage. That little AoE Jade Dragon Breath, very cool. Jade Lion Breath, rather, from the Jade Lion, of course, does some good AoE damage. It's not enough to fully break those units, but certainly every little bit helps. The things in the woods, though, for me, are just smashing up this Cathayan infantry. Relatively little issue, must be said, although the light cavalry is definitely having some problems. Yeah, Jade Warriors, for the most part, just getting savaged. But I do have some problems here. We're going to see a little Talons of the Night from Yuan Bo. and gets a nice hit on multiple units, including the Wolfhearts. The Marcus Wolfhearts inspired. Now I understand why he wears furry clothes, to be honest. That's the club he joined. But anyway, let's not get too distracted by that. Horse archers hanging around still. Gonna help to chase some routing units off. Those Crowmen, man, they just combined with the war drum and with some Jade Warriors to really put a hurt on a lot of Kosovite dervishes. And I do think with Harmony especially, it's like supporting them and other kind of effects juicing up their stats, they will tend to trade, as many Cathayan units do, above their price range. Wow, look at that death animation. That's so cool. It just like freezes and falls over. I don't know what I expected, to be honest, but that's not it. Oh yeah, we see Mother Ostankia now moving in, gets executed by Yuan Bo with a flourish. Oh, look at her death animation. Wow. Wow. Man. The animators really went above and beyond, I have to say. Big old props to the animation department on this DLC. This is maybe their best work in certain circumstances. Acold looks amazing, you know, the bespoke animations for Ostankia, for the Jade Lion. Like, look at it, it's just still just frozen over there. Like, what's going on? Who knows? But the Crowmen move in. They're actually going to do okay against the Akshina ambushers, but finally, in a pitched fight without Harmony, against a, you know, solid fighting unit, they're going to start to struggle more, and I should be able to finally get rid of them. I haven't really targeted them with, like, cavalry charges or anything, and like Harpies and Furies, they also count as infantry size, so the thing in the woods will absolutely massacre them. But, yeah, looking pretty decent, other than Yuan Bo himself still being quite healthy and just having a grand old time smacking my ambushers around. Another Talons of the Night there as well to drag some more into the earth. But the War Drum here, mostly been ignored by me, which I think has been an effective strategy, is to just kill everything around it. The War Drum's buffs are quite strong, but it's reasonably expensive for what it gives you. I don't know, I'm not completely sold on it. It does seem like it'll probably be decent in certain circumstances, but I just, yeah, again, I'm not completely sold. Things in the woods, though, again, not really wanting to spend time on the War Drum. We're just going to prioritize taking out the Jade Warriors here, making sure there's no support units left for Yuan Bo in the late game. The War Drum doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so the Horse Archers that remain, 80 armor is decent, I should say. It's definitely solid, but the Horse Archers can get some damage in. Not to mention the Hag of Beasts, who has her smaller reindeer chariot, which, I mean, it's a sled, technically, but I can see modders. I mean, I think modders have already added chariots for the Wood Elves pulled by the Wild Riders reindeers, but I could see this model also being repurposed, perhaps, for a Wood Elf chariot. Looks pretty cool, I have to say. Again, artists, 10 out of 10. Animators, 10 out of 10. Sound design as well, for the most part, 10 out of 10, as always. Just some of the other aspects of this DLC that have caused some serious grief, and rightfully so. But what we do have is quite impressive, it must be said. So, yeah, looking good there. Yuan Bo just running around in the open field. Honestly, Okoye and I agreed that for the most part, he seems better in his infantry form. He's less vulnerable to missiles. He's got a great stat line, including armor piercing and anti-infantry damage. Got greater access to spells, gives you more harmony. I mean, he can still execute things just fine in his human form. I mean, there's probably some use case for transforming Yuan Bo, but for the most part, I would actually probably keep him in infantry form in most battles. But at this point, there's not a lot of hope left for him. You know, the reindeer cycle charge into the War Drum. It's not quite enough to take it out, but Yuan Bo now might be the time to transform, although I do have ambushers lurking in the distance still, so getting circle beaten by things in the woods, he's going to be subjected to their anti-infantry bonus. But Okoye decides to hit the transform. And here he comes. Beautiful form, it must be said. My personal favorite looking of the three dragon siblings. But you see the ambushers immediately turn to unleash their crossbows. And with their peppering fire, should be the end. Yeah, immediately though, the things in the woods are going to tear her out once they get hit by friendly missiles a little bit there. Actually, ambushers are definitely very accurate. They're not as accurate as like elven archers, I think, still, but definitely solid. Look at those scopes too. Wow, so cool. So cool. Scoped crossbows. There we are. Super fun battle, super close at the end of the day. Very well played to Akoi. And those Onyx Crowmen, again, I owe them an apology. 1287 on value, 12,000 damage dealt. Partly on me for not allocating resources to directly try and counter them, but also, you know, I was just sending all my light cavalry YOLO charging into artillery and other things to shut it down, which artillery was still able to mostly pay for itself, even though I was able to shut it down fairly effectively as well. The Iron Hails didn't really do much. They get outranged pretty heavily by Kislev's range here generally, and the Akshina Ambushers are just another unit that's going to make that even more painful, I think, given, again, they compare very favorably to a lot of Cathayan units. They don't have shields, I guess, compared to, like, Jade Crossbows, but Things in the Woods, definitely very solid. I love the Hag Witch, even though she didn't get a ton of value in and of herself. The summon was definitely solid, and I mean, if the summon pays for itself, that's like 700 points, right? She gets like 300, 400 value. You're right on the money for that 1100 base cost. The rest looking solid. Yeah, Akshina's just so good. I'm a big fan for sure. Yuan Bow, also absolutely spectacular. Does a great job getting value here. Like I said, the cannon's too good. And the rest is what it is. The Jade line doesn't quite pay for itself. The Disruption was pretty nice. So, yeah, definitely a fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.